Hello and welcome to another episode of eScoot Talks. In this episode we have a comparison between NIU and between Ninebot. Now, I'm not going to even bother calling out the model name of NIU because I know it's going to sound really bad. So we're just going to stick with NIU and Ninebot F40 because I'm going to be mentioning some other Ninebot models in this video. So video was inspired by some comments earlier today, so I decided, well, it's actually a good topic for a video. Let's try and make it quickly and publish it. So I was so far working on one NIU scooter only. And just like looking at the frame, that scooter is really honestly rock solid. It would be something in a category closest to Ninebot G30. And some of you might already know that Ninebot G30 is really, rock solid. It's built like a tank. So what are the main differences? So NIU has a max load of 100 kilos, where Ninebot F40 has a max load of 120 kilos. Now, next thing is going to be a difference in brakes. NIU has a front drum brake, where Ninebot has a rear disc brake. Now, front drum brakes, we've seen already, at least I tried it on Ninebot Max and on InMotion 1S, and they are working absolutely brilliant. Rear disc brakes are pretty good as well, especially if you adjust them good, but also there is another advantage that rear disc brakes on F40 can be upgraded to X-Tech semi-hydraulic brakes that are doing absolutely brilliant job. Now, next thing is motors. NIU has a rear wheel drive, where Ninebot has a front wheel drive. That has its pros and cons in both situations. Like rear wheel drive has a better torque, but it's harder to do a puncture repair on a rear wheel, where front wheel drive has less torque. Majority of the weight is always on a rear wheel, so the front wheel can, skid on a slippery road or whatever. You can lose a balance, fail, and injure yourself. But usually on scooters, you're going to get a puncture much more often on a rear wheel than on a front wheel. So replacing tire and tube on a rear wheel is going to be much more difficult if it's a motor than if it's just a free wheel. In this case scenario, we have a tubeless tires on both scooters, so anyways, you probably won't be able to do it yourself, but Ninebot has anti-puncture gel in tires, so it's going to be a bit harder to get a puncture. If you're going to monitor your tire pressure regularly, you can do a couple of years on those tires without getting a puncture, but on the front wheel, front tire might get bald and you might need to replace it maybe more often than the rear wheel. NIU has a 48 volt system, where Ninebot has a 36 volt system. Now, 48 volt system, first of all, that controller is not going to be overheating that much. But there's still a little bit of a downside regarding those controllers that I'm going to get to that a little bit later. Now, since NIU has a rear wheel drive, you would say better torque, so it's going to handle hills better. But no, actually Ninebot is going to handle hills better. So Ninebot can go 20% incline, where NIU can do 15% incline. And the reason for that is that NIU has 600 watt peak motor, where Ninebot has a 700 watt peak motor. Now, let's get to those controllers. So this is not actually a controller of F40, I think. It's either F40 or it might be, I actually think it might be actually F40, but second generation of Ninebot G30 has controllers similar to this. And these are motor phase terminals on them. So this is much better solution than solution on NIU. Now, I don't have a NIU controller here, but I have here first generation of Ninebot G30 controllers, and that's their connectors for motor phase wires. And we've seen already cases of them melting because controller would be overheating. Now, as I said, 48 volt system is not going to be struggling on hills or whatever that much, so that might not be the case there. It might not maybe melt or whatever or overheat, but that can happen. Now, we're getting two IP ratings. So NIU has IP54 and Ninebot has IPX5. IPX5 in this case scenario is better. And now the last thing here is Ninebot has a smart BMS where NIU doesn't have a smart BMS. And smart BMS to me it's really important. I can monitor my cells, I can monitor my temperature, I can see the state of my battery. Even with some third-party apps you can even check how many charges and full and partial charges you have, so you can roughly estimate how long will that battery last. So from my point of view, I would definitely go for Ninebot for so many different reasons. So smart BMS, IP rating, stronger motor, anti-puncture gels, so many of those things. Now, 48-volt system on NIU, it would be easier to hack it to get better speed because it has more powerful battery. But there are some tweaks for Ninebot already out there where you can unlock speed, where you can put a custom firmware, where as far as I know there is nothing like that so far regarding NIU. The only downside on Ninebot would be actually that front wheel drive, where that wheel can be a little bit slippery and you can lose a balance. Everything else goes actually on Ninebot side. So yeah, that would actually be my choice, definitely Ninebot. But like, I don't know, which scooter would you choose? What's your best option in this case scenario? Mine definitely this, and yeah, one more thing, for Ninebot it's probably going to be much easier to get parts compared to NIU. At least here in Ireland, I don't think that anyone has NIU parts in stock, but when it comes to Ninebot, you know, you can get them even on Amazon, but buying parts online, be careful that you get original parts because there's lots of knockoffs, especially for Xiaomi and Ninebot electric scooters. So yeah, that's gonna be kind of all for this video. I don't know, if you want me to try and compare some other two scooters, leave a comments down below. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I'm releasing this quickly today, but in a couple of days I'm bringing you one pretty interesting video as well. And I'm trying to record more, but as I said, comments like this can give me a motivation, can give me an idea what to record. So yeah, I think I can wrap this video here. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. If you want, you can support me through Buy Me a Coffee. Also, you can support me by buying some of the products from my affiliate links down below. All products listed there are actually things that I'm using myself. And well, you know, kind of as usual, till next time, please stay safe out there and please respect other road users.